Please rise for a flag salute and a moment of silence. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
All right. Commissioner Morose.
Present.
Commissioner Pollock-Rude. Present. Commissioner Circo.
Present.
Commissioner Sotile.
Present.
And Commissioner Edison.
Present.
All commissioners present.
Thank you. Welcome to the El Cajon Planning Commission meeting. This meeting is being live streamed on the El Cajon City website. Appeals of final decisions of the Planning Commission made this evening must be filed in writing with the city clerk before 5 p.m. Friday, November 17th, 2023, and must include the payment of a filing fee. If you wish to speak on either a non-agenda or agenda item tonight, please fill out the request to speak card located by the agenda and turn it into the secretary, who will call you up to speak when the agenda item comes up for public comment. We ask that you give us your name, spelling of your last name. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. The display on the podium, as well as other monitors in the chamber, will show time counting down. At 30 seconds, the podium clock readout will turn red, signifying that you have 30 seconds until the end of your time. Applicants and individuals representing groups of people may be allowed more time if appropriate. All public hearing comments should be addressed to me as the chair of the commission and not to individual commissioners or staff members. Please turn off all electronic devices if you have not done so at this time. Pursuant to City Council Resolution 114-79, a commissioner who has received evidence related to a matter before the Planning Commission other than an unescorted view of the subject property is required to disclose such information at the hearing. At this time, we will take comments from any member of the public on any item of business within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda. Under state law, no action can be made or taken up on items brought before us under public comment, except to refer it to staff for administration or to place it on a future agenda. If there's anyone who wishes to address the commission under public comment, please come forward. Okay, seeing there's none under public comment, we'll go to the consent calendar. A single motion will cover all items on the consent calendar. Does Commission wish to pull any items?
No.
Staff, do you wish to pull any items?
No changes from staff.
Okay, then I make a motion to adopt minutes.
I second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Moreau, seconded by Commissioner Sotile. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Great. We'll now move to the public hearing. First order is agenda item number 2, Literacy First Charter School expansion. It is a request to increase student enrollment. It is CEQA exempt, and staff recommendation is approve. Staff.
All right. Sorry, wait for the PowerPoint to get up here. There we go. All right, good evening, Honorable Commissioners. The first item for your consideration is the Literacy First Charter School Enrollment Expansion project, which proposes to increase enrollment numbers to match those authorized by the San Diego County Board of Education and to match Literacy First's current operations. The use permit on file with the city currently caps enrollment at 350 students. This proposal is for enrollment of up to 620 students, and the project does not include any new structures or major modifications to the site. The project is submitted by Steve Robinson of Literacy First Charter Schools. Okay, so the subject site is on the north side of East Bradley Avenue between North Mollison Avenue and North 1st Street, and it's addressed 1012 East Bradley Avenue. The site area is roughly 269,000 square feet, or just over 6 acres. Structures at the site total approximately 35,900 square feet and include 23 classrooms. The site also includes a play field, about 260 parking spaces, and landscaping. The project area borders the county's jurisdiction on 3 sides. That's to the north, the east, and the south. And aside from a few multifamily dwellings to the south, it's primarily surrounded by single-family residences in the city and in the county. It should also be noted that there is access to the site off of East Bradley Avenue, as well as Pepper Drive to the north. The charter school is located within the residential single-family 6,000 square foot zone, the RS6 zone, which is consistent with the low-density residential general plan designation. Within residential zones, educational facilities do require approval of a conditional use permit, and in this case, Legacy Conditional Use Permit number 732 authorizes such use. The Legacy CUP was originally permitted to authorize a religious facility at the site, but then in January of 2004, they were granted an amendment to allow for the charter school to operate from the site. In 2006, the CUP was further amended for an additional classroom structure, and at that time, the enrollment cap was not increased from 350 students. Literacy First Charter Schools was renewed, their charter was renewed by the San Diego County Board of Education in 2006, 2011, 2016, and 2021. And with each of those renewals came an increase in enrollment authorized by the Board of Education. And since 2019, Literacy First has actually been operating above about 575 students at that site. And unfortunately, the CUP has not kept up with the authorizations from the county, and which was the impetus for this application. Also in 2019, Literacy First Charter Schools purchased the campus from the International Church of the Foursquare Gospel, so they now operate and control the entirety of the site. School administration has expressed that 620 students is the maximum the site could support, given the 23 classrooms and their aims to maintain smaller class sizes. A notice of application for the project was given, and Literacy First Charter Schools also subsequently elected to schedule a community meeting at the campus. Responses to those notices and during that community meeting largely concerned traffic, fencing adjacent to residential uses, and then also school signs. And as part of this request, Literacy First had already commissioned a traffic study to assess if the increase in enrollment would have any effect on traffic, if any. The traffic study concluded that roadways in the vicinity would continue to operate at acceptable levels, but also included recommendations. The primary recommendation of that report was the addition of a 150-foot long turn pocket, which would serve vehicles waiting to make an eastbound left-hand turn into the site from the westernmost driveway on Bradley Avenue. Since the roadway is within the county's jurisdiction, the report was shared with the county traffic engineer, who indicated support for that increased safety measure, that turn pocket. The report also included recommendations for on-site queuing and traffic management. And then on a separate note, Literacy First Charter Schools, as we understand during the meeting, is also in contact with an adjacent neighbor to improve fencing along the property line. And then additionally, the key concern of lack of school zone signs facing eastbound traffic on East Bradley, the city engineer has indicated that a school zone sign can be installed and that the city can facilitate the installation of that sign. I also wanted to mention that in addition to the concerns that we heard, staff also received numerous emails in support of this proposal. And then just for the sake of example, we included a very rough illustration of what a left turn pocket might look like on East Bradley Avenue. There's not concern really for the width of the right-of-way there to, obstruct any drive aisles. All right. And so moving on to the proposed project conditions, staff's proposed resolution contains the aforementioned left turn pocket and on-site traffic control measures recommended by that report. The proposed conditions also would allow Literacy First Charter Schools to install fences or walls up to 8 feet in height outside of the required setback areas to facilitate that future fence project that they'll be working on. This would also avoid the need for them to come back for a separate planning permit for an overheight fence. Other proposed conditions include some general compatibility measures, such as ongoing maintenance of landscaping, a prohibition on the use of a public address system other than a school bell, those sorts of items. The proposed conditions also make clear that any compatibility issues that should arise can be addressed by co-compliance or by the Planning Commission by reviewing this conditional use permit. And then, as outlined in staff's report, the following are proposed findings that can be made in the affirmative. The general plan encourages the interaction between residential development, major streets and boundaries, and schools and parks to create neighborhood focal points. The proposed project is consistent with the development standards and does not propose new development or modifications to structures. That generally, schools are considered compatible with residential neighborhoods, and that the project addresses the issue of traffic. Further, conditions require implementation of the recommendations in the traffic report. That impacts are not anticipated with the normal operation of a charter school, and that if the institution does become a nuisance, there are remedies through co-compliance or through review of this conditional use permit. And finally, the proposed project would provide increased capacity for a successful educational facility serving the El Cajon community and provides increased variety in educational options. And so with that, staff recommends approval of the CEQA exemption and conditional use permit number 2023-0007, subject to conditions. And that concludes staff's report, and we're available to answer any questions you have.
Great, thank you. Yes, Commissioner.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm familiar with that area. In increasing the students, what is going to be the dismissal, the drop-off dismissal times? Is there going to be alterations? Are they going to be staggering them? The only reason why I have concern with that is I'm really familiar with the Bradley Bridge area, and I know it's not too close, but it's close enough where it could make challenges for that particular area.
I think a couple points to make there. So I think with the addition of that left turn pocket, according to the traffic study, that should alleviate, not necessarily alleviate, but help the queuing of cars that happen to occur on the public right-of-way, in the public right-of-way. The report does assess peak hours, so that is the drop-off hours in the morning and the dismissal times. Generally speaking, the dismissal time is less of a concern due to extracurricular activities and other events that usually occur at the end of the school day, right? So many kids get picked up later, stay later. It's also assessed in the report that, generally speaking, that part of the Bradley would be operating at I believe, is a B to C in terms of the level of service. Thank you. Which is a generally accepted level of service for a street like that.
But in regards to the question of the staggered drop-off pickups, is there any staggering of that at all? I'm just asking because I don't know. Or is it a question possibly for literacy first?
Yeah, no, but yes, you could ask that of their
No,
staff.
that's fine. I'm not trying to jam you. I'm just, that particular area, especially with the bridge, and I've been on it. It's, to use the word challenging is an understatement.
Just,
but
Mr. Chairman,
I'll concede.
if I may add, the bridge is located in the unincorporated portion of San Diego County, so it's under the jurisdiction of San Diego County. The county is moving forward with a bridge expansion project at that Bradley interchange, so that's moving forward in 2025. Just a little bit more information about that.
Well, with that, and I'm not, with the bridge expansion, that's major surgery. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I'm seeing. If we're going to expand the student capacity and then doing a bridge expansion, that's going to be a significant impact on that particular area of the community that's pretty challenging already. That's the only reason why I'm asking more about the drop-offs if there is any staggerment. I'm more of a curiosity more than anything, just for my own free
I
knowledge.
think the applicant can address those questions about staggered drop-off. I think, as Spencer had mentioned his response, is that the traffic study doesn't require those staggered drop-off times, and then the information about the bridge was just to be in addition to know that future improvements are also coming.
Great. Question, you said that, so 620 is the max, but you said they've been operating at how many for the last 3 years?
Yeah, I was just about to try to chime in with that as well. Yeah, so since 2019, they've been operating between 575 and about 600 students.
So we're not, so it's just, in my opinion, it's more of a cleanup because they're already there. Students are already there. So the traffic was studied during the times when there was 600 students there, correct?
Correct.
So what we're not looking at is a traffic study with 350 trying to guess what the impact is. The impact's already there, and they've already give you the recommendations based on actual drop-off and pickups, correct?
Correct, yeah. And so the study takes that 620 number and uses it as like a projection, basically, to
Okay.
assess.
Okay, great. And yet, yes, Commissioner Sotile?
Yeah, I believe the distance from Bradley and 67 to North First Street is about 3 miles, would you say? Or do you know what the distance is? I'm estimating between 3 to 4 miles.
It's not that
I
far.
don't think it's quite that far, no.
No, okay.
Yeah, maybe a mile and a half, maybe.
Yeah, at most. Yeah. Commissioner,
Also, I didn't know that there was a drive-through all the way to Pepper Drive. So it is a possibility where people can come in and then get out on Pepper Drive.
And the traffic plan has them splitting
Yeah.
by
Splitting
grade.
there, so it doesn't. They don't have to come back to Bradley. They can go out on Pepper Drive,
Some do.
right, and circular. Okay, very good. Thank you for clearing that up.
yes, Commissioner Circo, you still have a question?
Yeah. So I thought I knew where the city-county boundaries were, and when you mentioned that the left turn lane would be in the county, I realized that I might not have a clear picture in this area. Where does the city end? Because I remember when they annexed a portion of a couple lots, that was county that they annexed. And so if you can help me out, which one's the city side?
Yeah, so Noah's just pointing out that it's actually where that dark line is in the actual roadway. You can tell in this aerial image.
Oh, so
Yeah,
just
the pavement changes.
west of LFCS is
Correct.
city.
And then on their east side, their property line is essentially the boundary with the county
Okay.
along their actual property.
Okay.
Follows the lines of the property.
So we're on the west side of them,
Correct.
except not in the street.
Correct.
Okay. That's why I'm confused. Thank you.
You had a question?
Yeah, quick question. With this way they had it mapped out of how they're going to come in and out, is that what they're currently doing, or is that a new?
Yeah, so Exhibit 9, I believe, in the actual traffic study shows, it's 8 and 9, I believe, in the traffic study, show that there's like a double stack queue. They wrap around certain portions of the site. It's kind of all laid out to be as efficient as possible,
Yeah.
I believe. So I believe most of the traffic would come back out onto Bradley, but they account for people entering the site from both sides, basically.
And with the Pepper exit, is that only exit only? It's not entrance only? Is it just an exit? Because on this it says it's exit. Is it always exit only on that particular location?
Yeah, I think we'll let the applicant speak to that, but I believe that it's primarily entrance off of Pepper and primarily entrance off into the western driveway entry, as shown in this kind of where the turn pocket turns in.
I was just
and then-
looking at the actual map of when they drop off. Look, it said an exit on that, so I just didn't know if that was
It's both.
interchange.
It
Okay,
does enter
perfect.
and exit there.
Okay, perfect.
So one of the pages, and I'm trying to find which page it is, shows the entry versus exit numbers, I believe. But I can't, I'm trying to
There's a
zoom
lot
out.
of them.
Outbound trip, inbound trip. This is figure 5, I believe.
Good afternoon, planning commissioners. Figure number 11 kind of depicts the worst case scenario, which is occurring this with 620 students. So the figure on the left hand side, the little sticks with the numbers, are just the actual in and out volumes for that particular site. So hopefully that sheds some light.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
So this, as you said, the student count is pretty close, if not to what we're talking about. So the traffic impact is kind of there, what we're seeing already, more or less. I'm not to pigeonhole.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for staff? All right. Well, at this time, then, let's go ahead and open up the public hearing. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, we do. The first one, Debbie Byer.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Debbie Byer, and I am the founder and executive director for Literacy First Charter School K-12. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes just giving a little bit of context with regard to Literacy First. We have 3 schools in the El Cajon area, and our high school is in Alpine. Literacy First started in August of 2001, a few days before 9/11. We started with 114 little kiddos, kindergarten through 3rd grade. And the growth that we've seen over the past 20-plus years have been pretty phenomenal. The challenges, however, with charter schools are always facilities. You don't really know when you begin something how it might prosper, and you have dreams and hopes of what you think it would do, but you don't really know. So 2 years into this project, we realized that at St. Michael's, where we were located, it became clear to us that we were going to have to find a bigger place. And so we began looking for a bigger place. We began searching the streets of El Cajon, looking for a place where we could put more students. And 1012 East Bradley came to us in all of this search. It was much bigger. It had acreage. It seemed like a perfect fit for a campus for larger kids because it was a larger place. So 1012 East Bradley became our junior academy, serving students 4th through 8th grade. So our 3rd graders from St. Michael's would go over to the junior academy, and that would build that program. It's been a perfect fit for us for all these years. You've seen our data and our scores. They were part of the packet. So you know the successes that we've had serving a very diverse population of students in East San Diego County, and particularly in El Cajon. We've also added another campus in El Cajon right down the street on Main Street here that serves K-5 kids. So to be clear, we have a K-3 campus on Mollison and Washington in El Cajon. We have a K-5 campus just down the road, K-5 students. And then our junior academy over on Bradley ends up where all of our kids end up there, 6, 7, 8 at that campus there. And so this has been a really perfect fit for us to have 1012 East Bradley serving 4th through 8th grade students in El Cajon. So in El Cajon, Literacy First has served really well with lots of students in this area. We are eager to continue that legacy, educating the future and being able to do that. And the Junior Academy is a big proponent, a big part of being able to do that. So I just appreciate being able to bring some of these details to you because Literacy First is all over El Cajon and it's a big part of the community here. My colleague, Mr. Steve Robinson, who is our Chief Business Officer, also has some comments. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next speaker card?
Yes, Steve Robinson.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Steve Robinson, R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N. I'm the Chief Business Officer for Literacy First Charter Schools. We are asking tonight to have our conditional use permit amended to allow for an increased enrollment to a maximum of 620. 4th through 8th grade students at our Junior Academy campus at 1012 East Bradley Avenue. Since we've opened that campus in 2004, as Mrs. Bauer described, our enrollment has steadily increased due to the demand of our quality educational program and under the oversight and authority and approval of the San Diego County Office of Education, who is serves as our authorizer for our charter. Our current enrollment there is 608. And since we've been there, we've been committed to being good neighbors, and that commitment continues. During the process to get to the hearing tonight, we've worked closely with staff and our neighbors to hear and address all their concerns. I think we've done that. This fall, we commissioned a traffic study. Like we said, the traffic engineers decided that based on the quality of our queuing processes that are in place, according to that traffic study, that traffic is effectively mitigated on Bradley based on that projected number of 620 and our actual number this year of 608. We are committed to putting in that turn lane and working with the county to get that done. We also, this fall, had an open house for our neighbors, invited the neighbors to come to our campus. We met with them, shared our story and our mission, our vision, our values, our educational program, and listened to their comments and concerns and recommendations. As was mentioned, one recommendation was to extend an existing 2-foot block wall on the east boundary of our campus. And so we're committed to doing that. We have a design for that that mimics a standing vinyl fence that a neighbor has, so we can keep the aesthetic on that side of the property and help mitigate the noise. We appreciate the leniency to be able to make that 8 feet without having to come back. That will ease the construction process. Another recommendation was the school signage on Bradley. A number of years ago, we worked with the city to put school signs up on Bradley, east and westbound, and those signs are up. They are not all that visible, and so we'd certainly be in support of any efforts the city could make to make those more visible, to help slow down that through traffic through Bradley, especially during school hours. We are very grateful for staff's positive recommendation to approve this amendment. We're grateful for all the members of our Literacy First family who are here tonight in support of this amendment, and Mrs. Beyer and I are here to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hang on one second, Mr. Robertson. Any questions? Yes.
You said you're at 608 right now?
Yes.
I know we're projecting, and I know I don't want to put you in a bad position. I mean,
Okay.
I just don't want to keep coming back, is it going to be 710, 700? So at some point, the impact of the neighborhood is going to be felt by the neighborhood. What are your thoughts on that?
So 620 is the max. We are committed to campuses that are small. Most of our campuses are not bigger than 500, and we do that very intentionally. Part of our charter is that every student is known. And once you get above 500 or 600, you don't know the students anymore, and that would violate our charter. So 620 is a hard number. My wife is the vice principal on that site. I hear daily the challenges of having that many students, and so we are not interested in getting that campus any bigger. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Do we have any other speaker cards? Thank you very much. Any other speaker cards?
Yes, we have one more. Don Mitchell.
Okay.
My name is Don Mitchell, reside at 986 Pepperville Court in El Cajon. I support the project. I'm fine with it. Just two concerns I have. One is the intersecting streets, Pepperville Drive and Woodman Court on Bradley. The morning and afternoon traffic, they block the intersections. So I was wondering if it'd be possible to have those intersections painted do not block intersection when you're trying to make a left turn out or into the project and the cars are all stacked up. And eventually I know the county is planning to widen Bradley in that area and adding a traffic signal at Mollison and Bradley. And one of my suggestions to the city engineer at that point is the signal was set up that it would be each north, south, east, west would be going at the same time, and then left turn pockets would be phased. My recommendation, I'm a civil engineer, would be to make that a phased signal similar to what you have at Greenfield and Johnson, where one traffic goes through, left turn, and through at the same time. That would clear the intersection out a lot quicker than having dual left turns coming out and waiting for that signal to change for people to go straight through or make a right. So that's, like I said, I'm supportive of the project. I'd really like to see the intersections marked do not block.
Great. Thank you. And since we've got, yeah.
So you live near them, and you're in support of this.
Yeah, yes, I live on Pepperville Court, which is off of Pepperville Drive.
So you would be impacted by, and you're in support of it, and your recommendation would be to possibly just maybe some markings on the street to to
when you're
unblock some of the.
like in the morning or in the afternoon when I'm trying to get to my house, I usually just avoid that thing because people are
very
back to the
familiar with
intersection.
it.
And if I can just make a free left turn down my street, I'm fine with that. But otherwise, I have to go down Mollison, go down to Pepper, and swing back in.
I appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Did you get those notes on the? Okay, great, thank you. All right, no other speaker cards?
Not for this item, no.
Okay. Well, then this time, do I hear a motion?
I hit yes instead of microphone. I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Serco, second by Commissioner Edison. Please vote. All right, public hearing's closed. What say you, commissioners?
Well, given that the additional 12 students might represent 4 more cars, I think this is a common sense.
Yep.
We're bringing the CUP up. I think this is 10 years overdue to upgrade the size of their CUP. The left turn lane will help with stacking and help differentiate traffic if people pay attention to that sort of thing anymore. I do like the idea of the do not block spaces across the other streets down Bradley. We have similar issues over at Shadow Mountain where during school traffic hours there are lines going like crazy, and it's especially bad when Granite Hills and Christian High get out at the same time. But I think this is a very good plan. They've already got a good traffic plan in place.
Yeah.
I think that by all appearances, they're trying to be a good neighbor. They're trying to do what it takes to make less of an impact on the community. The fact that we have somebody that lives in the neighborhood be in support of it, I think it speaks volumes to what you guys are doing there. I would say that your recommendations of the do not block should be taken into consideration because I've driven down that and I've seen what you're talking about, but I do support what we're trying to do here.
Great. Any other comments? Or do I have a motion?
I'm, your mic on?
Not because
Okay, now we can hear you.
now we can hear me.
Yeah,
Can you
I
make
heard
that motion
you and
again?
I seconded
Into the mic.
Okay, I will make it into the mic. Due to all the comments that were given, I move to adopt the next resolutions in order of approving the CEQA determination and CUP number 2023-0007, subject to the conditions of the do not block that was mentioned earlier.
I
Great.
second that.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Pollock-Rude, seconded by Commissioner Edison. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Great, thank you. And thank you for what you're doing in the community. All right. Agenda item number 3, project name is G&M Automotive Fueling Station. It is rebuilding an existing gas station. It is CEQA exempt, and staff recommendations are to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sable Beltran, our assistant planner, will be presenting on this item. And
Great.
if we could just have maybe 30 seconds while the chamber's clear.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sable Beltran, and I'm an assistant planner with the Community Development Department. The item before you is a request for a conditional use permit for the renovation and expansion of a gas station at 398 El Cajon Boulevard, as submitted by Travis Companies, Inc. on behalf of G&M Oil Company. The site is located on the west side of El Cajon Boulevard between Palm Avenue and South Johnson Avenue, with the boundary for the site shown in white. The adjacent uses include contract construction services to the north, a used car dealership to the east, a vacant used car dealership to the south, and a religious facility to the west. The site is approximately half an acre in size and includes a 1,000 square foot convenience market and a 1,500 square foot canopy with 4 fuel dispensers. Here's a photo of the site currently as seen from El Cajon Boulevard. There is limited landscaping and no trash enclosure at the site. The general plan land use designation is high-density residential. The site has a corresponding zone of RMHR, which is the highest density residential category. A gas station was built at the site in 1967 in a commercial zone, and in 1974, a conditional use permit was approved, bringing the site into conformance with the Motor Vehicle Service Station Ordinance. The zoning for the site was then changed from the general commercial zone to RMHR upon approval of the Transit District Specific Plan, and the use of the site as a gas station has continued. The current request has been processed as a renovation of a non-conforming use due to the change from commercial zoning to residential zoning within the Transit District Specific Plan area. The project proposes renovating and expanding the gas station by establishing a new convenience market, nearly doubling in size, and a new canopy with 3 fuel dispensers. The expanded market will provide new retail offerings to the surrounding neighborhood. The site will be improved with significant additions to the landscaping, a new code-compliant trash enclosure, and revisions to the driveways to align with adjacent public improvement projects. Due to the site's proximity to the Transit Center, Assembly Bill 2097 exempts the site from providing parking. However, the applicant has proposed 5 spaces. The convenience market will feature stucco and stone veneer finishes, an aluminum storefront system, and bronze-colored aluminum awnings. The rear of the building is concrete masonry painted to match the tan colors along the facade. The canopy will be finished with a stone veneer and stucco consistent with the convenience market and covers 3 fuel dispensers. The overall site design complies with the TDSP guidelines by including a variety of materials, transparent windows oriented towards the street, and complementary awnings. Although the building is not located adjacent to the sidewalk, new landscaping is currently proposed where none existed before to buffer the pedestrian realm from automobile maneuvering areas. Furthermore, the market observes a 10-foot setback from the adjacent residentially zoned properties, and the existing concrete masonry walls along the north and west property lines will remain. Although it is not a part of the project, the El Cajon Streetscape Street Improvement Project is proposed adjacent to the site and includes installing a single-lane traffic roundabout, new decorative concrete sidewalks, crosswalks, trees, and landscaping. The applicant has proposed removing one of the existing driveways on El Cajon Boulevard and aligning the remaining 3 to comply with the approved public improvement plans. The Planning Commission must make the following findings to expand a previously conforming use in lieu of the standard conditional use permit findings. Zoning Code Chapter 17-120 acknowledges that previously conforming uses will continue to exist and operate successfully. The existing automotive fueling station is outdated, and prohibition on modernization would result in unnecessary hardship. The site has historically operated as a fueling station and therefore will not cause detriment to public health, safety, or welfare. Proposed conditions of approval further ensure this, and the project will contribute to an enhanced public realm along El Cajon Boulevard in conformance with the Streetscape Street Improvement Project. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, staff determined that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA, according to Section 15303, Class 3 of the CEQA guidelines, which includes an exemption for commercial buildings not exceeding 10,000 square feet. Staff therefore recommend that Planning Commission adopt the resolutions to approve the CEQA exemption and conditional use permit number 2023-0002, subject to conditions. This concludes staff's report, and we're available to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for staff?
So the realignment of the driveways is taking place before the city project gets completed? Is that what I understood? I'm trying to look at, there's two projects going on and want to make sure that as the project site driveways open up, they're opening up onto El Cajon Boulevard properly as it is, in addition to as it will be.
The applicant worked with staff during the review process to align the driveways with the streetscape improvement project. And although that is ongoing and their construction will likely occur afterward, they should align with one another.
Which one's coming after?
The construction at the site.
Okay. So the El Cajon roundabout is going in before this site gets updated, but we're working with them so the driveways all work. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes, Commissioner Edison.
In regards to the roundabout, we've seen it's taken quite a bit of time for the initial one that's on El Cajon Boulevard. Is there a time frame and how long it would take for this roundabout to get done? Because
We actually, at a previous Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission asked for an update on the roundabout construction timeline, and we actually have that prepared for this evening under staff communications. So,
is that
Mario
going to be
Sanchez,
with both of these? Are they connected?
These projects are not connected. So the proposed gas station modifications and expansion are privately initiated. What they've done, though, is work closely with staff to coordinate their private improvements with the public improvements that the city is already constructing at this time. And then, as we said, we'll give you a more detailed presentation on the roundabout later.
I defer my question.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Any staff or speaker cards? Excuse me.
Yes, we do. Carl Hoy.
Honorable Chairman, members of the Commission, good evening. My name is Carl Hoy, H-U-Y, Carl with a K. I am with Travis Companies. We are the applicant on this project and also a representative of G&M, or representative for G&M Oil, the current landowner, property owner, and project operator, who will also be the property owner and project operator for this project should you approve our project this evening. We have had the opportunity and the pleasure to work with various departments here at the city, specifically also the planning staff, to put this project to you for your consideration. The project you see to you tonight is not our initial project, and that is the result of us working with various departments with the city, in the city, to come up with a plan that also incorporates the roundabout and street improvement and driveway configurations that are occurring and will occur along your El Cajon Boulevard, the El Cajon Boulevard Streetscape Improvement Project. We have received a copy of the staff report, the two resolutions before you tonight, along with the conditions of approval. We have reviewed them in detail, and we are in complete concurrence with those recommendations and the findings of the report, and respectfully request your approval of the project this evening. I am available to answer any questions should you have any.
Great. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other speaker cards?
Yes. Patrick Griot.
Good evening, Commissioners. Can we reset the clock? Thank you. So I'm here as a resident of the city of El Cajon. I live about a mile or so from the proposed project site. And I want to speak about its compliance with the Transit District specific plan that governs the area. While I appreciate the private investment, the economic development that this brings into an area that we're trying to stimulate as a city, and kind of the western portion of the city, I think this presents an opportunity for us to review and assess this project's development and whether it meets the goals that we're trying to achieve with the Transit District specific plan. while respecting the need and the appropriateness to allow existing businesses to continue to operate as they should be able to. With that said, just to kind of level set, the goals of the TDSP are to, among them, include making buffers and transitions, supporting pedestrian safety, supporting positive street frontages and land use interfaces. The TDSP identifies the area as, quote, overly auto-oriented with opportunities for improvements for experiences of pedestrians and cyclists. I would submit that a gas station with, I think, 3 driveway entrances in a short period of time with a busy roundabout increases pedestrian risk to pedestrian and cyclist and all road users with a lot of in and out traffic. Additionally, this site proposed plan does not, it situates the proposed new building structure in the rear of the site, farthest from the street frontages, where I think a site that maybe is offering expanded convenience store things, even some small groceries maybe if that's in their works, would be a benefit to the community. I think it'd be better if those are more situated at the front with parking and the gas station pumps in the rear to the side so that it presents a better user experience and promotes, better stimulates the area for future economic development as well. Additionally, I mentioned the driveways have more points of conflict created, I believe, with the roundabout and pedestrians with lots of the in and out traffic. I live just down the street and walk by often an area that has a gas station. There's lots of traffic coming in and out. Multiple entrances make that more likely for accidents or for collisions, I should say. Also, the EIR, the Environmental Impact Review for the TDSP, specifically identified redevelopment of former gas stations requiring special consideration, in part due to the potential for ground contamination and other considerations. So I think that this warrants additional review and scrutiny. Not to deny it, because again, it is an existing business and use that we have to respect, and we want to continue those developments, but I think it presents an opportunity to modify the CUP to make the building better match with the TDSP and its goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Any other speaker cards?
No, that was it.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to close public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Monroe, seconded by Commissioner Circo. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Great. All right, well, definitely an improvement. Big time. It'll be interesting to see how that roundabout shakes everything out, too.
Yeah. It's interesting to look at the development of El Cajon Boulevard through the years and see how it used to be State Route 80 and then early Interstate 8, and now is a bypass and the main entrance into El Cajon. So the improvements, any improvements we make on the El Cajon Boulevard street side reflect our city.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that we're improving the fueling station and preserving a little bit of our heritage in El Cajon too.
There you go. All right. Any other comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I think it's a good project.
Yeah.
And it's an improvement. And it's been there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I remember when the only way to El Cajon was El Cajon Boulevard.
Yeah.
All the way to our El Cajon
Park.
Boulevard.
Yeah.
Before Highway 94 or Highway 8 was there. That's a long time ago. So it has improved, and I think it's a good project.
Good. Mr. Edison.
I guess I'm trying to reconcile the station and the roundabout. So I realize you've said it's two different projects, but the impact is it's going to be a little bit more major surgery than we think, as we've seen with the first roundabout. It's not even done. So I know you said let's table that till a little bit later. That's why I'm having a hard time with this vote, because I'm trying to figure out which one is impacting more.
Yes, Commissioner Reed.
I'll turn my mic on. I did look at the drawings, and it did look, I mean, I live up where there's a roundabout. I deal with roundabouts all the time, so for me, it's just another day in the park. But the way they have the entrances, I mean, they work with staff, and they flow really well with what's here. And they only really have two that are on El Cajon Boulevard. The other one's over on Palm. So I think it's a nice in and out of the property, and the roundabouts flow pretty well as long as you don't have that occasional person who doesn't know how to operate one. But from the drawing they have here, it has a nice flow. So hopefully the drawing that you have that comes up can kind of show how it flows with the gas station. So I think it's a great, and I appreciate that they work with staff on this to make sure it does work properly, because I'm sure it costs money to redo plans to make things work.
Yeah.
So I appreciate they did that.
Yeah, I'll say, aside from my experience with the roundabout at the top of Main Street, my first experience with the roundabout was actually in Northern California on the 101 highway, which at that point was almost a freeway, but one lane both directions, very few intersections at all. And there was an intersection with another freeway or highway in the lake area. I forget, Blue Lake or Clear Lake. I still can't tell them apart. But between the lakes, there's a highway that shoots off from it, and it used to be a signal. And there was a gas station at the signal. And it was almost impossible to get into the gas station with the signal unless you were coming south, because if you're coming south, you're on the right side of the freeway. But they put in the roundabout right there at the gas station, and now there's 3 ways into the gas station, and it's traveling at a much slower rate without stopping most of the time. So I think the roundabout actually makes it easier for the gas station access when the two of them get complete.
It's not the roundabout, the use of the roundabout. It's the building it in the first place, and that's the issue that I'm seeing, and that's why I'm trying to keep them separate at the same time. It's tough because the impact of the community. I drive past there. It's challenging in that particular area, and I just would like to know what kind of a time frame that we're looking at for the roundabout to be completed. I mean, the neighborhood is going to be impacted significantly, as we've seen. That's my issue with it.
All right. Well, we'll get to that with our staff communication, but at this time, I'd like to see if we have a motion for this agenda
I'd like
item.
to make a motion.
Okay.
Move to adopt the next resolution in order approving the CEQA determination and the CUP number 2023-002, subject to conditions.
I will second that.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Sotile, seconded by Commissioner Pollock-Rude. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Great. All right. Seeing that there is no more agenda items, we probably should get to the staff communication. Sounds like we have some questions that we'd like to see answered. So, thank you.
I noticed the chairman's name is not up there. Is it? I'm not seeing right when we vote.
No, it's there.
Your name is up there?
Yeah, I think so.
On the screen.
Oh, I didn't see. Last one.
On your side?
Oh, I got the same background on my computer.
Got two screens up, but oh, that's weird. I've got to do. It's bizarre. I got to go into settings.
Not having.
It's right there, but if I do display settings, go there, identify.
It looks like you currently have your desktop set to extend.
Yeah. So if I do. There we go. Finally. Okay, it finally worked.
Hey.
All right, so Noah asked me to give just a small presentation on our smart growth projects here in the downtown transit district specific plan area. And then the first two projects are the two main projects that are under construction is the roundabout, also known as the Elkhorn Boulevard Streetscape Project. And it's about a $7 million construction project, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the other project that's going under construction, it's called Main Street, Green Street, Phase 1 Gateway. And that's on, if you drive West Main right at Johnson Avenue, right now they're pushing out the curb face, and then I'll talk more in detail about that. So what started these projects is early on, prior to 2018, probably 2016, the city received a grant through SANDAG through the Smart Growth Areas. And with that grant, they determined the specific plan area, and it's called the Transit District Specific Plan. That was adopted in May 2018. Those dates are correct right now. And then it's basically a land use program and design guidelines for future development in the TDSP. And it's basically we rezoned about 260 acres within the transit district area. So SANDAG in the smart growth areas has funding available, and it's by competition throughout all the smart growth areas in San Diego County. So when we got these projects, it was competitive. There wasn't just handed to us. So the intent or the goal of this TDSP is to increase housing, as you know, and improve mobility to all modes of transportation, including pedestrian, bicyclist, and motorist, and to transit as well, being close to the trolley station, which is major hub. So, and also with that, we want to make that whole area sustainable through urban greening, forestry, and stormwater treatments and so forth. So that's kind of the start or our footprint or plan for infrastructure projects within the TDSP. So, as I mentioned, we received a grant probably about 4 years ago now, or 5 years ago now, through SANDAG, through the Smart Growth funding. And that's a portion of Transnet. As Transnet is our sales tax for the county. It's our half-cent sales tax. It's been since inception. I think 2004. It was updated in 2008. So, and it'll expire in about 50 years. So, 2068, and that's when the voters again approve or another sales tax. But a portion of the dollars are set aside for smart growth projects. So for the two projects that I just mentioned, we were awarded $5 million for construction, and it was part of the program cycle number 4 of the Smart Growth Incentive Program. And we also secured funding through the San Diego River Conservancy, another $500,000 as part of the Prop 68, which is a sustainable project or a statewide project for water conservation and climate action initiatives. So this is the project we're talking about today, El Cajon Boulevard and Johnson Avenue. As you know, it used to be a traffic signal there, and as my role as a city traffic engineer at the time, we experienced annually people running into our traffic poles, knocking them down, and became really expensive. This particular intersection, it's in a 4-way intersection. It's skewed. There's a big area between the streets, and so there's a lot of open area where motorists just don't know what to do, or they're not obeying the traffic laws, and they run off the road and cause these severe accidents. So since 2015, we kind of documented about 17 energy-related accidents. So when we looked at this project, when they did the TDSP, and we engaged with the public, and we identified locations where a roundabout is viable. So El Cajon Boulevard was one of them. There was another one, as mentioned, at Main Street in Douglas, and then El Cajon Boulevard and Washington, and other treatments to reduce traffic calming or actually reduce speeding, traffic calming, and encourage cyclists and pedestrians to use this whole area to access transit to get to their destination. So this is the roundabout that we talked about. Sable talked about the G&M oil project, and that's right there at the top part of the diagram there. And we're in construction now with that project, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple slides. But the intent of this was to beautify the area, make it safer for vehicles too, because when you enter a roundabout, you're going to go in about 15, 20 miles per hour. So the type of accidents are low impact accidents, not high impact, where there's a broadside going at 40 miles per hour, and the chance of serious injury is multiplied. So with that, we hired a civil engineer and landscape architect, and to prepare plans, and now it's out to bid. So that's the intent of this project that's going on right now. And some of the features that we're doing is to hopefully encourage business activity with beautification of the actual street. So this is just a snapshot of what it would probably look like. And this is, I believe that's El Cajon Boulevard and Palm. And that's just a before and after rendering. This is before. And this is what we want it to look like eventually. So, pedestrian friendly location to park and encourage neighborhood businesses and street canopies and shade and so forth. So our timeline and budget for the roundabout. So we designed it back in 2021, and we put the project out for construction bid back in summer of 22, and we started construction right when we had very heavy rain. So we've had numerous delays on this project, and lots of hand-holding with businesses. Sanan Kachi, our project engineer, can attest to that. We really try to accommodate businesses and the hardship they're going through, and trying to get our contractor to expedite and move along as expeditiously as possible. So we're probably in phase 3 of the project. There's 6 phases for the roundabout, and we're shooting for May of 2024. That schedule slipped. It should have been done in December, but with rains and a lot of unknowns with existing soils, contamination of soils kind of pushed our project delay. So with any construction project, you never know what's underground. So that was the dilemma, especially in older neighborhood, where there's old gas stations and old utilities where you uncover them as you go along. So, excuse me. So this is what our project funding, that donut, is just our breakdown of the grant, Conservancy grant, local Transnet funds, and wastewater funds as well. And the second project that's ongoing, that started in September of, August, September this year, a few months ago, is the Main Street, Green Street project. And so right now, the before picture is kind of wide open, 4 lanes of traffic. And the intent of the TDSP is to, encourage, like I said, cycling, pedestrians, and put in, landscaping and trees to make it not so hot to walk in the summertime. So for this project on West Main, from Marshall Avenue to Johnson Avenue, right now it's 4 lanes, and we're going to neck it down to 3 lanes, and 2 lanes would be westbound, which is the heavier volume of traffic going towards I-8. And we could, after we did our studies, we could determine that we can eliminate 1 lane of traffic going eastbound and not create a bottleneck. And then also encourage the Class 4 bikeways, which is protected bikeways. And on the south side of Main Street, we have protected bikeway and more landscaping. And we also trying to accommodate all the driveways as well for business. So the overall benefit for this project and all these projects are just to increase safety and reduce vehicle speeds and accessibility to the trolley station. And this one's a kind of a bird's eye view of Main Street and Johnson. So on the top of, I don't have my pointer, but on the northwest or the southwest corner, where we have the LaWand distribution facility, that's that picture. So right now the curb is being pushed out to eliminate that lane and then to put in landscaping and a bikeway and a pedestrian access. And then further east of Johnson Avenue is the extension of that project, but the intent is to get the first phase done from Johnson to Marshall and get that project completed. And this one is going a little bit quicker. It's not as big and it's not as a large project as the roundabout, but they're delayed. We got a slow start. We bid it last summer, and we started in September, and we're intending to be done in June of 2024. So it's about a $3 million project. And with that, I'll open up to questions. Also, I mentioned another roundabout at Main Street in Douglas. We just received a grant through the state of California. It's called an Active Transportation Grant. We got about $6.8 million of funds to do a roundabout. at that location. But these projects take about up to 4 years from design, procurement, design, and bid, build, and all that. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Just a quick question on the one that you're doing there on West Main to Johnson. I know that there's heavy bus traffic there, and there's been numerous times where they've had to reinforce the road because the bus has kind of smushed it. Are they going to accommodate the roads because I'm sure the bus is still going to go that way?
Yes. When you go eastbound, it's going to be opened up. The street's going to be widened there a little bit more. Instead of just knock down to one lane, we'll have 2 lanes going. You'll have a left turn pocket and a through and a right turn lane. So buses will be accommodated. And we have bus turnouts on the east side of Johnson Avenue. So
I just know that there's been a lot of problems with the road itself, and I think they concreted it. Are they going to continue the concrete there for the weight?
For the buses.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
It seems to me that traffic will be slowed down tremendously because of reducing the lanes. Where's traffic going to go if they want to get from one end of El Cajon to the other?
Well, traffic will always be there, so the volume's not going to change. It's going to stay the same, I think. So.
Yeah, but it's going to be congested, don't you think?
No, I don't think it'll be congested. We'll have to wait and see. It's like when you build it, you have to mitigate with either signal timing and to increase more capacity. But in terms of roadway width and volume, it's still going to be the same volume. You might have people rerouted, but when we look at this, we always accommodate. Will it work for eliminated a lane? We did a project on East Washington. It used to be 4 lanes from Hamishaw all the way to Hisa Road, and that was the first comment we got. I go, well, you guys you're dropping 2 lanes. It's going to be congested. Like you're not going to drive through, but you drive through today. We looked at the volumes. It operates fine, and the advantage of that is we have less speeding and less severe accidents in that area, but the volume has not changed.
So the people are just traveling slower, but the volume is still the same? I think the roundabout, which is on Main Street, El Cajon Boulevard, there's a car dealership on the east side. I heard through another friend that the owner is complaining that business is dying at the car dealership, that they're not getting any people coming there to buy cars. Yeah, have you heard about that?
Yes, we've heard about that, and we just accommodated a turn pocket access. West of Lexington, if you drive that tomorrow during the day, we really accommodated that business and provided him access during construction. So again, this is just temporary. It's not when we do construction, we're going to inconvenience everybody, and there's no way around that. But once it's done, and you give it a few years, and then people forget about it. So it's just the drawback with construction.
It seems to me that it's taken a long, long time.
Yeah, it has.
Really long time. Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Just another quick question, because I noticed on the map that you had, there was the one they're doing right now, and then there's the one, I believe, where West Main hits El Cajon Boulevard. Are they doing a roundabout there as well, or no? Because I know right now there's a traffic light, and the turn lanes have changed over the years, but I just didn't know if they were going to do anything there or no.
Yeah, West Main and El Cajon Boulevard and Douglas. Yeah, that's on our plans to put a roundabout there.
Perfect.
It's part
Just
of the TDS.
a family of engineers, so unfortunately I hear a lot about this stuff. So thank you for clarifying.
Commissioner Edison.
My only first of all, thank you for presenting this to us. I know it takes time to put it together. I do appreciate it. And with any outdoor project, there's going to be delays, and I want to acknowledge that. So thank you I'm a visual, so I do appreciate that. My only question is in regard to the 2 roundabouts. Is at any time, are we going to be doing 2 roundabouts at the same time in construction?
No.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank you.
And just the problem with this way, the Main Street, Green Street, and the Elkhorn Boulevard and Johnson. The Johnson should have been done. We should have been closing down that project, but it's just taken longer than expected.
All right. Any other questions? Well, thank you for that presentation, and hopefully the weather cooperates this year. All right. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, before you close the adjourn the meeting, Mr. Griot, who spoke earlier, wished to comment, but I indicated that public comment is closed. But you're welcome to come to the next meeting, which the 21st of this month, and speak during public hearing to this matter, if you would like to.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, you can speak at the beginning of the meeting on any item not on the agenda. Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, do I have a motion to... Is there any other staff communication?
No additional communications.
Okay, great. Well, then I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Moreau, seconded by Commissioner Circo. Please vote.
Oh, okay.
Circo, Sotile. Thank you for the record. Thank you.
You see, your name is.
Oh, yeah, my name's not on there.
Yeah, I was wondering.
See on the bottom?
I see that.
I'm just a yes. I'm just a yes guy.
Is that